Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about our cells, and specifically we're going to look at different types of cells and how they're organized in our bodies. So to review, it's important to understand that the cell is the basic unit of our body. It's the basic unit that keeps things going. It helps us produce food, keep energy. Cells in our bodies rarely work alone. Instead, they often work with other tissues to keep us functioning. So when we talk about cells, there's two primary groups. There's the prokaryote types of cells, which is pictured right here in this picture and down here below. Prokaryotes are unicellular organisms. In other words, they're only made out of one cell, and their cells really don't have a nucleus, meaning there's no centralized location that keeps all the DNA together. The DNA kind of floats around in the inside of this cavity. Now, the other type of organism is a eukaryote. These tend to be more modern type cells. These are organisms whose cells do have a nucleus. So if we look at this picture over here, you're going to notice in the center there's this structure that contains the nucleus, and it can actually send out messages to the rest of the cell to make proteins and do different things. So the big difference between prokaryotes, who are primitive, and eukaryotes, who are more modern, is that eukaryotes tend to be more complex in how their parts are arranged. So when we're talking about eukaryotes are found in multicellular organisms. So if we look at our bodies, we know the first level of organization in our body is the cell. We can look at our skin cells and we can see those. And those skin cells come together to form collectively skin tissues. Tissues are when you get a gathering or grouping of the same type of cells. Now, if you take a variety of different tissues and put them together, and those tissues are all working for a similar purpose, you create an organ. So in our bodies, an organ would be like the lungs, heart, stomach, and that specific organ has a collection of tissues made out of a certain type of cells to help it carry out life processes. As we continue down our list, we take a bunch of organs and put them together, and we create organ systems, such as the respiratory system, where we have different components from the lungs, from the trachea, the different parts of your body that help us exchange oxygen from the atmosphere to your bloodstream. And then finally, we put a bunch of organ systems together, which are made out of organs from tissues and cells, and those different organ systems collectively make up the organism, which is us at the human body level. Now, in order for this level of organization to work, there has to be a variety of different types of cells with different purposes. So red blood cells, their primary job within our body is to carry oxygen throughout. So it has a heme group in the center that uses iron to bond to oxygen and carry it to our body to help supply our cells with energy. Additionally, next to those red blood cells, there is a certain amount of white blood cells. And white blood cells are composed of our body's natural defense mechanism. And there's a variety of different types and functions of white blood cells in your body, but they essentially help us to protect our body and fight infections. Muscle cells are really unique. They help us with movement. Now, muscle cells come in a lot of different forms. For example, if you go out today and you try to run for 4 hours and you haven't run for a long time, you're probably going to get cramped up and have all kinds of pain. But when you think about the muscles in your heart cells, you realize that the muscle beats every day, every second of your life, and it never cramps up. So different types of muscle cells have different properties that they use for the body. Bone cells will work together to give structure to your body. And as you can guess, the structure of bone cells are very rigid. Compare that to a skin cell that you can stretch and pull and things like that. Bone cells are extremely strong and give us shape and structure and support and protect our vital organs. Finally, the last type of cell is our nerve cells. And this type of cell is very unique because it carries messages throughout the body. And using our nervous system, it can send these messages down these long cords right here that can basically control movements. They're responsible for memory. As you pick up different skills, you might have heard people saying, hey, you're making new connections. Well, you literally make connections between these different nerve cells in your body as you learn and grow. In the same respect, if you touch something and it's very hot and you move it away, it's these nerve cells that are carrying those electrical impulses to tell your muscles in your body when to do certain things.